the World Series of Boxing. Tonight from 11, the British Lionhearts v the German Eagles. Right now though, it's Lee Haskins v Stephane Jamoye.
Live boxing for you tonight here on ESPN and ESPN HD. European title fight. Lee Haskins, the man in your picture there from Bristol, defends his European title against a very talented Belgian fighter, Stephane Jamoye. We're in the Hallo Omnisport La Préale in Liège. It's Jamoye's hometown. Haskins disappointed he couldn't find a suitable venue in Bristol to defend. But here he is, and he's fought away from home before. He says it doesn't bother him. Fought one in Morocco before, but one of the more frustrating fighters to watch, certainly. On his night, though, great skills, Haskins, and it's a real 50-50 fight as we go to the anthems. Well, amid all the pomp and circumstance, that was the Italian national anthem for Luigi Muratore, our referee. Now, though, to the fighters.
Lee Haskins. Et bien entendu, la Brabant sonne. Messieurs, monsieur l'orchestre, je vais vous demander si vous voulez bien de quitter le ring.
Well, it's such a big night for both men for very different reasons. Lee Haskins, not the most active fighter. At the age of 29 now, it was a big win for him against Stewie Hall. Jamoye's just 23, but has already had 26 fights, just 2 fewer than Haskins. And he's been in with some very, very good operators indeed. Only 3 defeats for Jamoye, and they came against Tomoki Kameda, our very own Jamie McDonnell, and the very talented Leo Santa Cruz. Alongside me is the former world super featherweight champion Barry Jones, and Jamoye is a serious operator. Haskins has got his hands full tonight.
He most certainly has. I think he's stepping up a level for this fight, and you have to admire his moxies, if you like, for taking this fight in Jamoye's hometown. But he's got a lot of skill, Haskins, and he has to keep the pace nice and slow. That's the keys for a success for him to win this fight, is to keep the pace slow, lots of angles, lots of feinting, and throwing those screw shots that he throws very well.
This fella Jamoye has beaten Peng Yuang Saw Sing Yu. He went on to win the WBO bantamweight title in October. And I mentioned those 3 defeats were nothing to be ashamed about. And he felt he was robbed, and many felt he was robbed against Kameda when he fought for the WBC youth bantamweight title. The strange old night that, the decision originally a draw and then changed to a split decision in favor of the Japanese fighter. This, you suspect, might be just as close. Two very, very different styles on view, as you will see as the fight develops. Jamoye is all action, energy, come forward. And Haskins, well, his hero is Prince Nassim Hamed. He fights with his hands low. He throws, as Barry was saying, those screw shots. He's very flashy and is occasionally accused of admiring his work a little bit too much.
Yeah, he has some flaws, doesn't he? But he's awkward, and he's fast hands, and he's got good reflexes, and he gets away with a lot of bad things that most fighters wouldn't. But I think with Jamoye tonight, Jamoye's going to have to put a lot of pressure on Lee Haskins, be prepared to take a shot and let his hands go, which he does very well. So it's going to be a very tactical fight to start off with, and I think it might liven up after a few rounds.
Haskins in the blue trunks here, the man from Bristol, European champion, defending here against Jamoye, who already is on the front foot and throws a decent combination. You can see Haskins just holding on and throwing that flashy left uppercut. Good work from Haskins in the early stages. Jamoye mustn't make himself too easy to hit.
They're both getting through with decent shots earlier than we expected, maybe. So that's a good sign for us.
Yeah, I was expecting a slightly cagier opening than this, but nothing doing. See Haskins there with the single shot, the left hand, and then stepping out of range, but a good right hand there from Jamoye. The local crowd, of course, very much behind the home fighter. Something else that Haskins has to contend with.
Well, as you said at the beginning of the fight, Haskins again just being a victim of admiring his own work, landing with 2 good shots, but getting caught again without moving his feet.
Only 2 defeats on the record of Lee Haskins. That strange fight against Ian Napa when he retired with an arm injury. Just didn't seem in the right frame of mind at all that night. And that did raise eyebrows and question marks about it, but that's good work from Haskins.
Yeah, he's been more positive than I expected. I think he's had a good round so far, Haskins. He's taken some shots, but I think all the clearer shots and the flashier punches have come from him.
There'll be a couple of eyes on the referee tonight, Luigi Muratore, who had a curious night. And he refereed the James DeGale fight in Hull last week. He stopped DeGale after he'd knocked over his opponent and said he'd heard a bell from ringside when there wasn't one apparent. This is good work from Jamoye moving forward. Little right hook there. Has caught Haskins as he came in. Good response, though, from Lee Haskins. And this just starts a theme that we thought might develop. This will be a very, very hard fight to score, Barry.
Yeah, that was a good response, wasn't it, from Haskins, just when he seemed under a little bit of pressure. Come back with his own little combination. And he's looking more positive than I thought he would have. And to be honest, I think he just shaded that round. I think he probably won't get it on the judges' scorecards being the away fighter, but for me, just shaded that round.
Try and have a little listen in if we can to the corner, although it's quite hard to hear, what with the music and all. But here are some of the highlights from that first round, Barry.
Yeah, and as we expected, they were going to show Jamoye's cleaner work in their occasions. What they're not showing is some of the good shot that Haskins got through with. Those screw shots have worked well for him. He's landed with some good uppercuts, and it's been much more positive, and that's a good sign. And most of that round was fought at Haskins' pace, and that's what he wants to keep at, a nice slow pace for those single shots. Keep Jamoye from throwing his punches in bunches, and he's doing well so far.
Just wonder how many close rounds Haskins can afford here tonight. It is easy for judges to be swayed by a home crowd, no matter who's champion. Remember, Haskins, the away fighter, is the European champion, defending tonight. Great shot from Haskins! Straight left, which Jamoye didn't see coming. And Jamoye, for a moment, had taken leave of his senses. Fantastic shot, and Haskins follows up with a good right there. He must step back low and try and pick the right shot. Jamoye's trying to crowd him here, Barry.
He just needs to give himself a little bit of room, doesn't he, Haskins? Good shot again, straight out of the Nazim Hamid playbook, wasn't it, that shot that dropped Jamoye?
Well, I said he had to win the rounds more convincingly. At the very worst, this will be a 10-8 round for Lee Haskins, unless something else dramatic happens, but fantastic work from the Bristolian at the start of round 2. Another uppercut there from Haskins. And there's a mark above the right eye of Jamoye, who is in a little bit of trouble here still.
Let's just hope Lee stays focused now and doesn't get too flashy, but that's getting good combination from him. Jamoye again landing with a hook over the top.
It's a good response from Stephane Jamoye. But a great start to the round, a great start to the fight here for Haskins.
Well, Jamoye's just a little bit walking in straight lines, isn't he? Which is suiting Haskins at the moment. He's not really moving his head. No lateral movement from Jamoye. And Haskins will want more of that, because he's setting him up for that backhand, lovely.
Well, there are those who worry when they watch Lee Haskins what kind of mood he'll be in, but he looks in the right mood here tonight. Really sharp work from Haskins, good right hook there as well. And Jamoye looks vulnerable to those shots. Good combination from Haskins, and then he threw a really flashy right hook, which missed by some way, and he's got to be careful with not getting carried away and picking the right shots when he's got his man under pressure.
Yeah, he has to pick his moments, look for the clear target, but I think he's doing that quite successfully in this round. He's boxed well so far. He gets caught with a few shots, but he always does. Again, another cracking right hand.
Haskins certainly with the cleaner shots, but Jamoye with a double jab, tried to follow it up with the right hand.
And we know Jamoye's tough, don't we? We know he can fight through adversity. We've seen it with Jamie McDonnell, where he kept going forward throughout the fight. So Haskins has to be on his game, stay focused for 3 minutes of every round.
Well, that is a terrific second round for Lee Haskins. We might have doubted about the opener, but it's a 10-8 round for Lee Haskins there, and his corner will be delighted with that.
Oh, set it up lovely, didn't he? Jamoye walking in, surprisingly with his hands down. Jamoye got used as a tight defence, but Haskins set it up lovely, drew him in, really turned his body into the shot. And he does, doesn't he? Haskins, he really turns the core into those shots, he gets maximum effect off them. Again, being elusive, he likes that hands down, reflex sort of style, but it's boxing very, very well.
Well, we expected it to be close. We expected it to be entertaining. It's certainly the latter at the moment as we move into round 3 of this European title defence for Bristol's Lee Haskins. Haskins in the blue trunks here against a very talented young Belgian, Stephane Jamoye. But again, Haskins connecting with that left hand at the start of this third round. Just trying to measure his man there as well, Haskins. Careful not to walk onto one, which he nearly did there. Good work from Jamoye, responding at the start of round 3.
Yeah, Jamoye knowing he has it all to do now, being 3 points down in my book, on my card, so He knows you have to be proactive now. He has to close the gap on Haskins. Easier said than done, but he has to move his head more lateral movement when he comes forward. But Haskins is a hard man to pin down.
There's blood on the face, though, of Haskins. He's been cut, I think, above that right eye. And already it's telephone booth stuff in round 3. The kind of fight that we might have expected. The home fans responding to the work here from Jamoye, but Haskins is proving elusive here.
And Haskins is cut over his right eye there, David. Looks like, I don't know, it looks like it's running down his cheek pretty bad, isn't it? Hoping he's not going to be a factor in the fight. But Jamoye's definitely been more positive in this round, and he's had to have been, hasn't he?
Well, it's a question of where the cut is, Barry. Is it on the side of the eye, in which case it might just run down the side of the face and not be a factor, but it looks a bad one. And Haskins just blinking there as Jamoye came forward. Does Haskins feel that he has to maybe conclude this early if he can? Does he feel that it's a bad cut?
Well, this is where Haskins doesn't have to panic. He has to not worry about the cut. Let the corner... Oh.
Yeah, no surprise. Time out here from Luigi Muratore.
We can't really get a good view. It doesn't look very good, does it? It looks deep.
Oh, he's cut badly above that right eye, and the doctor is going to take a look.
Okay.
Well, he's saying for the moment he's okay to continue, Barry. And Haskins comes straight out throwing.
You would usually tell a fighter now, or be hoping a fighter would keep his hands up nice and high, see the round through, but Haskins doesn't box that. He doesn't box that way, does he? He's a reflex fighter, so it's a dangerous time for him at the moment. And if you were Jamoye, you'd want to be jumping all over him now, wouldn't you? Really going for broke.
Good combination there from Jamoye. Turning the fight around here, the Belgian, but Haskins responding. Haskins with the knockdown in round 2, but cut.
Good left hook there on the Belgian.
Jamoye now trying to box behind that jab, but a good right hand from Haskins. Caught the glove, but it caught Jamoye as well. Little left uppercut on the inside. Haskins likes that shot. Jamoye looking for the right uppercut. Well, fantastic action there in round 3, and now, Barry, we might get a closer look at how bad this cut is. And by the way, we presume it was caused by a punch.
Well, the way it looks, I didn't see anything, but the way it looks, the way it's cut, it looks like a head clash. It doesn't look, usually a cut with a glove is quite a clean cut. But Chris Saniga's hand there just obscuring our view. Hopefully we see it now.
You're trying to find a bit of action that caused the cut, but he's already cut. We see those pictures.
Yeah, that was later on in the round, wasn't it? When good shot there from Haskins. He's shown a great appetite, hasn't he, in this fight? We were a little bit sceptical about him being maybe slightly negative, but he's been phenomenal so far tonight. Come out, guns blazing.
Well, Chris has worked on that cut, but of course Jamoye will target it above the right eye of Haskins, who might be better advised to try and box at range, but straight away they both move forward at the start of round 4. Lee Haskins from Bristol here, defending his European title, the man in the blue trunks. Round 4 of what has been a real thriller so far.
It's not the fight we expected, is it? And with a better for it, I noticed Jamoye just moving his head a little bit more and having a little bit more success because of that, being able to close the gap on Haskins and land his punches in bunches.
One of the other problems Haskins has got here is that the crowd roar every time Jamoye comes forward, and Haskins is elusive and he's not being caught as much as the crowd suggests, but it's hard for it not to influence. Yeah, 3 experienced judges, but it still means Haskins has his work cut out.
Well, you would think that, you know, the first round, even though I give it to Haskins, you would think they give it to the home fighter. Obviously, no argument with the second round, and the third round they give it to Jamoye. So, you know, it could possibly be even at the moment.
The gum shield is out there, and they're trying to find it. Never quite seems in control, this referee, I must say, but don't want to be too judgmental.
But every time you see a fighter up against Haskins, you always tend to will him to throw punches in combinations, and they don't. And I think Haskins, because he hits hard, he sort of makes you tentative of throwing those punches, because Jamoye, as we know in his previous fight, likes to throw lots of shots. But he's... Jamoye
now coming forward and putting the pressure on Haskins. This is more the kind of fight that we expected, with the Belgian always looking to come forward, and a very stern word there from Muratore. Left hook there from Haskins, both fighters missing there. You see Haskins looking for those corkscrewing uppercuts when Jamoye's within range. It's a real signature shot for him.
He's going for the money punches, isn't he, Haskins, every time though? Just leaving himself open sometimes when he misses.
Good right hand there from Jamoye, that did connect, but Haskins just closes the gap and covers up a little, and again throws that left uppercut. Back into the pattern of hard rounds to score here. And all the time, of course, Haskins aware of that cut and the potential for it to open up, although it's looking okay at the moment.
Yeah, and it's punch for punch stuff at the moment. We just tend to think that Haskins' shots carry the more weight. But I still think, you know, I think Jamoye has been slightly better in this round. I would have thought he's been more proactive on the front foot, and for me, that gave him that round.
Well, the 10-8 round for Haskins. You scored a very, very close opener to him as well. The cut there, you can see him blinking, and again, the work being done on it. Better look at it there, just briefly, Barry, maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. I thought they were playing around with Jamoye. Like, maybe he has in some sort of cut. I'm not quite sure. It's a cracking little fight, isn't it? Not what we expected at all. Very close, and Haskins has been superb tonight. He's under pressure now, obviously, but blocking most of those shots. But obviously with the home fighter on the front foot, you would expect that they would be giving him these close rounds.
Well, we're going to go with your scorecard. Got to go with the way that you honestly score it, not how you feel it might be scored. You could just hear there, the eye's okay. Don't worry about it. That's the message for Haskins here. The playboy from Bristol, hence the shorts. He's a fascinating character, he really is. And you can see it in the quirkiness of the way he fights. Of course, a terrifically talented fighter. One who's always just been felt not to have quite achieved his potential. Well, he could move on to very special things with a victory here in Belgium against Stephane Jamoye. And after starting slowly, Jamoye coming into the fight certainly, and Barry has him winning the last couple of rounds after the knockdown in round 2.
Yeah, I think on my card now it's even. Yeah, Jamoye did have a cut. We were right. I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as Haskins.
Yeah, it's a graze, isn't it? But it's something for Jamoye to think about, certainly. Then Jamoye comes forward, throwing.
Haskins just letting him close the gap, isn't he? He's not giving him any angles like he was in the first couple of rounds. Just needs to keep throwing those screw shots, keep spinning Jamoye, not letting him walk forward onto him.
And you just start to get the sense that Jamoye feels he's getting on top here. A little right uppercut there from the Belgian.
Yeah, classy little shot that, wasn't it? And that is the shot, I think, to land with Haskins, because he has his hands low. Likes to evade punches with lateral movement, but the uppercut's usually a good shot to counteract that.
Lost a very, very close decision to Jamie McDonald Jamoye. That's good work from Haskins, of course, who has a win over McDonald on his CV. Although from slightly earlier in McDonald's career, a fighter, Jamie McDonald, has really improved fight by fight. Great action again, though, here in round 5. They're both standing and throwing.
Look at Haskins pushing Jamoye back. His appetite.
Oh, super right hand there from Lee Haskins. Jamoye seemed to take it, though. Jamoye might be landing more shots. Haskins is landing the heavier shots here. Real mini classic already, this, for the European bantamweight title in Liège.
Well, we know Jamoye can take a good shot, but he done well to stay on his feet, didn't he? Because that was really almost broke his neck. And I think it's been a good round for Haskins. It's been a close round, but he's pushed Jamoye back a little bit in this round. I think he's landed with more shots. And obviously the power lies with Haskins.
Haskins just pouring away with that jab and trying to land in behind it. Good left hook there from Haskins. That caught Jamoye, then the little chopping right. They are both landing good shots. Very, very tight round, this. You've got the job of scoring, and all I can say is all the best, Barry.
Yeah, that was a round for Haskins. For me, I think his work was cleaner. It wasn't just the one big shot, which in a close round would be enough to nick that round, but I think he had the better work throughout the round, and he's not boxing the way I thought he was, but I'm impressed with Lee Haskins. His appetite for the fight's been great. He's worked well. He's always thrown back after he's been put under any sustained pressure. He's always come back with his own little combinations just to keep him in the round. But there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, certainly is. We're not even halfway through the fight. Great action here, though. Little clash of heads there.
That's the shot, isn't it? That's the big hook. Jamoye took it well. Didn't really stop his momentum from going forwards. He's a tough guy.
But as a British fight fan so far, happy with Haskins, happy with the way he's approaching it here.
Yeah, I honestly am. I thought he would have to be very negative, you know, to outfox Jamoye, but he hasn't done that. He's planted his feet. You know, he wanted to show that I'm the champion. You come and take the title off me. Well, he's been in some stinkers, hasn't he? Let's get it right to Lee Haskins. We have to be honest. He's been in some terrible, boring fights, and they've been his fault. But tonight, he's been nothing short of phenomenal.
Great pressure, though, here from Jamoye. Caught Haskins with that right hand. Haskins needs to get away from that corner. And he goes to his knee. Jamoye down in the second. Haskins down here in the 6th. He was stunned by that shot, and has he recovered here, Haskins?
Well, he done the right thing, didn't he? Took a knee, not taking any more shots, but he looks tired more than hurt.
Oh dear, is the will starting to just sap out of Haskins here as Jamoye puts on more pressure, switches to the body and then throws another right to the jaw. Haskins looks in trouble here.
Yeah, he's definitely in trouble. The problem with Haskins is he don't know how to hold his hands up. Doesn't train that way. They're under pressure here.
Oh, they're standing and trading now. Right there from Haskins, trying to deter Jamoye. Great left hand, though, from the Belgian. And Jamoye is going for the finish. If Haskins could just hang on in there. Get to the end of the round and regroup, but that's not really his style. And Haskins throws back now at Jamoye, who's unsteady on his feet there. Uppercut from Haskins, followed by a right hook. Great bravery here from the Bristolian. Oh, Jamoye is in all kinds of trouble now. Haskins with a big right over the top. Just when Jamoye thought he was on top, now his legs are buckling. What a fight, Barry.
It's something else, isn't it? Really looked like Haskins was out on his feet. All of a sudden he catches Jamoye with a punch, and now he looks like he's out on his feet. But both two very tight fighters going for broke. Great stuff.
Not even halfway through the fight, and it looks like we're in the last round here. Haskins looks desperately tired.
He's punched himself out, Dave. Punched himself out.
But Jamoye too, it's whoever's got the will, and Haskins' will has been questioned throughout his career. He's shown how brave he is tonight. Now he needs to show how much he wants it. Uppercut from Jamoye. Look at them, they're leaning on each other. They both need the bell here. Is Jamoye just the stronger though? Haskins just dipping and sinking and then trying to throw that shot from his boots. Haskins looking for the uppercut. What a round of boxing. Absolutely sensational. They should be on their feet, and they are on their feet for these two fighters, Barry.
Great round. Would have been a close round, but with the knockdown, you have to give it to Jamoye for 10-8, I presume. But what a round that was, really punched. It looked like both fighters were going to be out on their feet. And they just looked so tired, didn't they? You know, especially Lee Haskins early in the round, he looked tired. Didn't look like he really got hurt, caught with a heavy shot. Just an accumulation of punches was enough to put him on his knee.
But he did the right thing taking a knee, didn't he? Did the right thing.
Yeah, most definitely. We've seen that recently in a few fights where, you know, a fighter's been too brave for his own good. He's done a clever thing. Oh, that was right at the end of the round. I think that was a cracking left hook. But he came back in a proper champion's fight back. He wants to keep this title. It obviously means a lot to Haskins.
What have they got left? Start of round 7. I told Barry before the fight how important his scorecard was going to be. I'm not so sure. Jamoye now on the front foot at the start of this 7th round.
But this is where a good defense comes in. When you're tired, or even though you want to attack, you want to throw shots.
Really good left hand from Jamoye at the start of the 7th here. Again, Haskins was rocking back, trying to hold on. Haskins moving forward, but he's caught again by the right. 6 years age difference between them, remember. Haskins, the older man, is that going to come into it? This is where the conditioning gets tested.
Well, this is where your will to win, isn't it? More than anything else, everyone trains hard. It's your desire and your will to win, and you can't fault either fighter for that. But Haskins needs to keep his hands up, but there's always worrying signs when he's on the ropes with those hands low. Been caught with a few big hooks.
And certainly both guilty of looking for that money shot, if you like, the big one to end it. And that will sap the strength even further.
Well, the power lies with Haskins, but they've both been hurt. So they both know they can hurt each other, especially when you're tired, your resistance is low.
Both men down already in a fantastic fight for the European bantamweight title. Jamoye beaten 3 times already by high-class fighters. Just 23 years of age. Haskins knowing that having won this title, he doesn't want to throw it away. Potential step up for both men, and it is on an absolute knife edge here in Liège. Crowd rise for Jamoye. Good combination from the Belgian.
And as brave as Haskins is, he's just those shots that he was landing with earlier, he's putting so much into him, he's missing. Takes a lot of energy out of him. And he looks the worst off of the two at the moment, I think. Looks the tired of the two.
Jamoye seems to have got something of a second wind here. Haskins needs that as well. Looking for that left uppercut that time. A little bit of a quieter round, but the fight probably needed it.
But just when you think Haskins is under pressure, he comes back, doesn't he, with his own little combination. Shows his grit, his determination, his desire to win.
Good work that from Haskins. It's reassuring work when he just throws that double jab and boxes a little bit. Good from Haskins again.
They landed with like 6 or 7 hooks without any reply.
He was looking to time that shot, wasn't he, onto the jaw of Jamoye as he was throwing. Another really good round. You've just given that one to Jamoye as well. Jamoye on your card is ahead in the fight, but only just.
Yeah, it could be. It's subjective, isn't it? Some of these rounds are very close. I just think Jamoye started the round better. I think he was consistent for the first 2/3 of the fight, of that round, sorry. I think Haskins came back well, but maybe a little too late.
My arithmetic is right, and it may be wrong. I think you've got Jamoye ahead by a point at the moment. More fantastic action though.
It's to and fro stuff, isn't it? You know, they both had knockdowns, both landed with decent punches, good solid shots, and every round is nip and tuck.
Whatever next, Lee Haskins, the great entertainer, they'll be queuing up after this, whatever the result. Jamoye, as he has done pretty much throughout the fight, starts the round on the front foot. Good right hand there from Jamoye, again landing the combinations, not all those shots landing, but enough of them.
Well, this is what we expected, wasn't it, from Jamoye? We expected this.
Oh, body shot from Jamoye, caught Haskins. Is he going to recover from that? Fantastic shot to the body. Tries to get to his feet. Haskins is hurt again. Down for the second time. Almost turned his back there. And the worrying thing for the man from Bristol is there's still over 2 minutes to go in this round 8. It was a fabulous shot from Jamoye.
Haskins needs to be plenty mobile now. I know he's trying to smother Jamoye's work. He needs to use his footwork now, keep out the reach. Just get his breath back. But he asked himself a lot of questions then, didn't he? To get up from that, he done well to get up. He looked really hurt.
He looks to have recovered. Good left hand though from Jamoye, followed with the uppercut. Again he targets the body of Haskins.
He's tired himself though, isn't he, Jamoye? He's very tired.
Well, as Jamoye tries to follow up his work, tries to potentially end it, you're right, he doesn't have the energy himself. Comes down again to willpower.
And I tell you something, whatever the outcome of this fight, Haskins for me has been superb. Absolutely superb.
He has produced a performance here that not too many thought he had in him, but again Jamoye targets the body, and again it's hurting Haskins there. He's cocky and confident enough, the Playboy, to lift his arms and to show that I'm still in there too. And as we've seen already, this fight is just a punch away from being turned on its head. Jamoye down in the second, Haskins cut badly, then Haskins down twice, but still in there fighting in a close fight. And suddenly Haskins looks strong, tired but strong.
Well, he's landing, just when he seems that he's out, that he's struggling, he lands with 3 or 4 solid shots, doesn't he? You know, his desire's just been unquestionably great.
Oh, he's down again though, Haskins, and this might be definitive. He has given it absolutely everything. Can he drag himself to his feet? Muratore says he's okay to continue, Haskins, but down for the 3rd time. Terrible 8th round for Haskins, and it's over. Another body shot from Jamoye. And Lee Haskins goes out on his shield. Jamoye is the European champion. But Haskins has produced a fantastic performance. In the end, though, the energetic young Belgian was just too much. And I wonder if he really recovered from that shot to the body at the start of that round.
Well, I don't think he did. But so brave is Haskins that he carried on regardless. Got himself back into that round almost. But he just leaned on to one of the uppercuts, didn't he? That second knockdown in that round, and you just felt then that body shot then obviously just took it out to him, and I'm absolutely gutted for Lee Haskins, but I think he looked phenomenal tonight. He really sold himself. He boxed great, was aggressive. He was really great, and honestly, if that was 2 marquee name fighters, we'd be calling this a classic.
Absolutely right. We'd be calling it a late candidate for Fight of the Year. All action. They both left everything in there. And you have to feel, you really have to feel for Lee Haskins. Remember, this is a man who has been criticised and even vilified for the way that he fights, the boring fights, but he went in there tonight to trade, and it's cost him in the end, but what a brave performance. There's the body shot.
Right in the solar plexus, isn't it? Perfectly placed. And to be fair, no, Jamoye was a favourite, wasn't he? We always knew that. But Haskins, and he's world class. He's world class. He got beat by Santa Cruz, who's the best bantamweight on the planet. But Haskins proved that he can mix it, and he could have won that fight.
Well, Haskins disconsolate in his corner. One word that I wonder about straight away is rematch. I mean, it's produced a real classic here. Haskins might have to change his tactics if they go at it again, but he might just have earned it, mightn't he? Unless Jamoye moves on to bigger and better things.
Well, you think Jamoye would be looking for a rematch with Jamie McDonnell, but Haskins, domestically now, a fight with Jamie McDonnell would be cracking. You'd always fancy McDonnell, but now, even though he's lost, I think he's gained in defeat. He really has gained in defeat. He's really made a great account of himself. He showed bravery, skill, punch power. He just got beat by a world-class fighter in his hometown who was just a little bit better on the night. Nothing to be ashamed of.
He has got nothing to be ashamed of, Haskins, tonight. And I think it's really interesting that you say this defeat might have made him, because when you were a promoter previously and you wondered about Haskins on one of your bills, he's been a hard fighter to match over the years, and maybe now that changes everything.
Well, you would like to think he went over to Belgium for financial reasons, but you would probably guess that he went to Belgium because he probably couldn't sell Haskins at home. So you know, you think, but now after watching this, well, we got some exposure here on ESPN, and you tend to think, people who are watching this thinking, this Haskins is a cracking fighter. Why would you ever be negative about how exciting was he? And he sold himself tonight, and I think he'll benefit from that, and he deserves to, because he put up a great display. And like I said, he gained in defeat, and I'm just gutted that it ended. I would like to see him go on the distance, and I enjoyed that fight.
Well, let's have a listen to what Jamoye says. He said, what a match, it was incredible, and let's hear what Jamoye says. Thanks to all the world. And he said it was fantastic support from all of you.
Pas eu un peu peur malgré tout. Au deuxième round, mais il s'est imposé.
He said, did you ever have any fear in the fight? And he said, in the second round, yeah. That's, of course, when he was down. And he's just trying to say thank you to everyone, and he's barely got the energy to do it.
Stéphane, sa charmante épouse est là. Le petit, toute la famille.
And the announcer is introducing all the family there.
Next time, maybe.
Don't think we're going to hear from Lee Haskins here.
Stephane Jamoye from Belgium.
But Jamoye gets the big ovation, and here is the action from the fight. And it went by in a whirlwind, Barry, didn't it? I mean, it was terrific stuff from both men.
Well, it literally wasn't a dull round, was it? I think maybe the third round we said it slowed down a bit, but in any other fight, that third round would have been a cracking round. But they both took some really heavy shots, didn't they? And it was a battle of attrition, wasn't it, in the end? And Jamoye obviously been in more of these sort of fights before, maybe battle-hardened slightly more than Haskins, who's more elusive, and maybe that was the difference in the fight.
Well, there is the kind of merry pandemonium that you always have in a ring on a big fight night. Lee Haskins came here to Belgium as European champion. He has lost his title to Stephane Jamoye, but what a performance he put up. Tremendous fight. Haskins stopped in the end in the 8th. My thanks to Barry and to all of you for watching, and from all of us, good night.
This is ESPN.